Whoever said babies and toddlers don't come with an instruction manual never met the moms on call. For nearly 20 years, Jennifer Walker and Laura Hunter have helped over 500,000 families navigate parenthood with their best-selling books, online courses, apps, and network of certified consultants. And now they have this podcast to talk directly with you. Ask your questions at 888-234-7979. Welcome to the Moms on Call podcast with Jennifer Walker and Laura Hunter.
We're so excited to have you here today because today's just going to be fun. It's going to be rambling.
We've already established that.
Perfect. I feel at home.
Julie Knisley from Milk Street Baby. You guys, we are going to talk about all the things that you're interested in today. And she is like the only woman-owned and operated crib manufacturer in the USA. And let me tell you, one time we did this newsletter and it was like how to save your baby's life and the newest crib style. And literally like 10 people clicked on the CPR and like 8,000 people were like, crib models, I must see it. So we love to fashion these spaces. Like we just love making a home, making things beautiful. And so we have the queen of making things beautiful and talking. And she is here with us today. Julie, tell us a little bit about first of all, how you got the name. And secondly, how you came upon this amazing thing that you get to do every day.
I would love to. And thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. Because I think before I start, what we try to do is we're growing this brand organically, which is hard in a crib space because safety, you got to know the name. And how many people really know the brand of their crib? Not many. I mean, now you do because it's Pottery Barn or Restoration Hardware. They have a brand in the adult world. But a crib brand is pretty hard to get out there. And so thank you for letting me talk about our story.
We can't wait.
So I grew up in Texas. I have a bunch of brothers. I was kind of a tomboy, loved to build things outside, loved art. Anyway, I married my husband, who I've been with for a long, long time. And he would not survive in Texas. He was like, no, we're going back to New England. He's a Rhode Islander. So I had no choice. I'm like, I can adapt, moved to Boston. And it was hard to adapt, right? I came from open country and really friendly people to claustrophobic downtown, little tiny basement apartment. And no one would talk to me. Like I would walk down the street and I'd be like, hey. And they'd be like, what do you want?
Right. Like we got to get to point A, from point A to point B. Let's go. Yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
Out of the way.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And we love our people from Boston. But it's just that lifestyle.
That's only my initial.
Yes.
I love being here. I met the best people. I have the greatest friends. So that's just kind of day one, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, had our first baby and I would walk her and there was a little park called Milk Street. There's a street called Milk Street and then there's a little park there. And so I would sit and sketch and think about like, oh, if I could do this, I'd really love it. There isn't that much design in nurseries back then. Cribs are just like boxes with bars, little cage. And so that's where I would sketch. And I started out and I did chairs, and you could probably find something. My old company was called Junebug Rockers. And it was all sorts of rocking chairs that would give a kid something to do when they just sat down for a minute. So one was an abacus. One was like a throne. They were really, really cool.
That is so fun.
Creative mind.
I did them for FAO Schwartz, if you remember the toy store, and they were great. I could make anything. They would buy it and sell it. So it was very one-offs, very creative. And then they got bought by somebody. Yeah. And I was like, okay, they're now wanting 300 a piece. So my little shop here in Mass, I went overseas took my samples, went over to China, said, okay, we're going to mass produce this. Met a ton of great people, a lot of the Pottery Barn people.
Right.
Came back. The samples were terrible. I would never put my name on them. So I was like, okay.
We have had similar experiences with blankets.
Absolutely.
Yes, we know. And, it's so funny when you're like, yeah, I just went over to China. Like, I totally took my whole business model and like tried to twitch it around as if like it happened in a day, like in between dinner and lunch,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into that. So much.
Well, I would love to hear about your blankets. Was it a positive or?
Not always.
Not always. Not always. We finally have something we think but it's been, I mean, we used to have, when we first started making our blankets, because you just couldn't buy a blanket that was big enough. Yeah. And that wasn't overly stretchy, right? Because you can find like the jersey material, way too stretchy. Yeah. And so we had our neighbor's mom down in Macon, Georgia. So I would have the material made in North Carolina. It would get dropped off on the doorstep. My husband would have to pick up these bolts of material, put them in the back of the truck, drive them down to my neighbor's mom's house. Jennifer's mom, when we would run out, Jennifer's mom would run up, start making blankets because we had to have these.
Literally making them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, put my mom in a sweatshop to keep up with it.
So true. But then, then of course, yes, we tried different companies and, tried USA companies, tried, overs, and it is a process that is grueling in the small business world, right? It is grueling.
And when you have your hopes on seeing the sample and it comes back and you're like,
yes,
this is nothing that I would ever put my name on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to stand up for that. So you have to have something inside of you that's like, no. Not, everybody works so hard for this. I can't say that I don't like it. Like, no, that does not mean.
It's not it.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't follow the spec.
Right.
You didn't.
Right. Did you have the spec? Because this is not it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. All right. So you did that. Anyway, how old are your kids now?
So my kids are old. I'm not even going to tell you how old.
Yeah. No, we got to know how old your kids are.
They're in their 20s.
Wow.
Our kids are in their 20s.
All of our kids are in our 20s.
I got 4.
Yeah.
Fun.
Boy, girl. They're amazing. I have 2 magnificently creative kids and 2 total number oriented.
That is so funny. It's about how it is in ours too.
Right?
I raised an accountant. I don't know how it happened.
So I've got a set of twins. So I have 5 and my twins are mirror image. They're 23.
Identical?
Yeah, they're 23.
Yeah, 23. They'll be 24 in September. And they're identical twin boys, but they're mirror image. So one's right-handed, one's left-handed. One's incredibly like reading and then one's super, super creative. And I mean, it is just the funniest thing to watch,
crazy.
It's
genetics, right?
It is. It's just
I
crazy.
love it so much.
Yeah,
and
so
probably, I mean, obviously you 2 are both very creative, but are your husbands?
No.
No.
My husband is absolutely no. He is much more business oriented. He's a teacher.
And I would say with my kids, like I would say one is my heart, one is my mind, and one is my soul.
Oh,
like, that's how they mirror to me. Like,
that's so cool.
Kind of,
love that.
Like, just
love that.
That's
so
beautiful.
fun. Yeah. All right, so you've got 4 kids through all this. Okay,
4 amazing kids. Yeah,
love it.
And when they were little, they were the models for Junebug, and I still have. Oh, I wish I had them up to show you. And I have them like one of the chairs was a sleigh, so one's on the back rocking the other one. Very fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a flop. Okay, China
messed you up.
Yeah.
But, and I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Yep, it does.
100%. And so I was over there and I ended up being in the factory that I had chosen through a friend of a friend of a friend was making all the Pottery Barn cribs.
Okay.
The very first launch of the Pottery Barn, whenever that was, like
designer cribs. Yep.
Right.
And so I got involved and worked on that catalog with that team, went to San Francisco, did a ton with them for about 3 years. And I realized no one did the space well. Like cribs in the 90s, Pottery Barn was the first, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they allowed creativity. They allowed us to do some cool finishes. They staged the rooms beautifully. And so I said, I'm going to focus on cribs. No one's doing it well.
Right.
So I spent time in the lab at Intertech. I spent time at BV. I went back and forth all over China and Vietnam and started designing for Restoration Hardware, Pottery Barn Kids, Graco, Delta, you name it. And all along the way, I learned so much, but I realized nobody really was caring about the things I wanted. It was just mass production. It was, let's make our money as quick as we can. So
that drove the beast. Yeah, absolutely.
And I had so much experience in the compliance of cribs that sort of drives everything, right? Because, and this is my famous tagline, like you're a new mom, you have had a hard pregnancy, hard labor delivery. You get home, you're exhausted. Your husband does what he can, but the baby needs you. And you've got to go to sleep. Where do you put your baby?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the only place you leave them alone for 8 hours.
Yep. Yep.
So it's got to be a fortress. I mean, it can't be loose.
Got to be safe.
Got to be thick. The paint, they're going to be licking it, touching it, breathing it.
Biting it, banging their heads on it sometimes.
Yeah, climbing, whatever. So that space is sacred. I mean, we build, and like you said, it's all women in our company. I have two guys that work for me and I love them dearly. Nothing against guys.
Right.
But I think women know cribs. And before I came along, it was all men that were designing, producing, selling, marketing. So it's been kind of fun to say, hey, moms, I'm a mom, Yeah.
I was the original crib for this baby. This where you slept first.
Say it again. Sorry.
I was the original crib for this baby. That is where they slept first. Right in here.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't even think of that.
You can take that.
I will. I will. But if you think about it that way, like you're leaving your baby alone. You're not watching. I mean, you'll have a monitor. Yeah, but you're going to be asleep. You're passed out. You're tired.
Yes.
So anyway, that sort of drives everything: safety, compliance, Green Guard Gold certification, all of the coatings, all of the specs, all of the hardware, the mattress support. Everything has to be bomb-proof, and then we can make it aesthetically beautiful, right?
Well, and that whole genre, like understanding and knowing that much information, like it's not like a sheet of compliance. It is like workbooks full.
It's crazy.
I mean,
and it changes. Every last year, you guys probably know this, but they changed the dresser compliance because they were all tipping over.
Yeah.
So now to build a dresser, you have to have it weighted in the back. Mm-hmm. The drawers are not supposed to extend all the way unless you put a locking mechanism in. So we've now tested it. Anyway, I want to get onto my USA stuff because that's what I'm most excited about.
Come on.
So I'll touch on that there. Yeah. But compliance, it's crarazy.
Yeah. Thank you for keeping all that knowledge in your mind.
It's like, I feel like I live, that's where I live, right? 2.2 millimeters here, toe hold here. Like, what?
Like a second language. Laura and I are like that too. Like our book, all of the, how do you get a good nap? Where should be sleeping? What should the temperature be? Like, it's just all automatically there and all the other information comes through that.
Well,
so
also
then you get to be creative.
Your production pieces that you've perfected. That's a new language, right?
It is. Right. Always. Yeah. Always. So that's really kind of where that focus on the cribs happened, right? It's like out of necessity, and nobody was doing it. Nobody was looking at those things. So, and we talked a little bit about the compliance pieces, but what are some of those kind of non-negotiable things when you're starting to think about cribs?
Well, and I don't want to diss product made overseas because we do a lot overseas.
Right.
But you can never be sure where the wood's from. Did they use the paint that you tested on that? Did they use the dyes in your blanket that you specified?
Right.
You can never know for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's two examples I want to talk about compliance related that I was a part of, kind of not part of it, but in the company where it happened. One, there was an owner and the quotes came in and they nickel and dime like everyone, right?
Sure.
We need this product for this. Nope, not 2 cents more. And there was a crib that was uber popular. Like you would know it if I said it, but I don't want to say
We're
it.
not going to. Right.
And he had sold like 130,000 of them and he was out. He needed more. They upped the price. He said, I'm not paying you that. So they said, okay. And they shortened some of the hardware. So if you remember the drop side gate.
Oh, yeah.
The gate would start out fine, but after a couple of months, it wasn't a real well-made crib anyway. It would loosen and the bolts weren't long enough
themselves
to hold
out.
the gate. So in the middle of the night, if the baby rolled over.
Right.
So 3 babies died because of that. So that was one that made me think, okay, somebody needs to be making something that really has integrity.
Right.
And let me knock on a lot of wood. We've never had a recall.
You can buy.
And things happen, right? We know that. But that to me was a price point. If you cut the price, something will be cut out, right?
Yes. Right.
And they were greedy. That's all I can say.
Right.
So that was one example. Then another example happened, and it was a paint was used. It wasn't what was tested. They tested everything fine, but in production, product got out there and somebody tested it.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was a competitor that maybe, I don't know, but it had a lot of lead and they had to pull back. Like there were all these babies sleeping in a crib full of lead.
Right.
So in my mind, yes, my chair business flopped in Asia, but I was there for a reason. I go back to the reason for everything.
Yes.
And I think somebody needed to come in, and not that we are the top, biggest, and best,
Right.
but we provide a product that has 100% integrity. There is nothing in it where a shortcut has been taken.
I love that.
So it's because that's what needs to happen. And then I realized I wanted to do it here because there are no affordable cribs made in the USA.
No.
Right.
And probably blankets. There aren't any.
Nope.
So about 4 years ago, I said, so we launched 2018. This is 25.
Yep.
So like 2 years in, COVID had hit, the factories kind of lost their people, got new people. They were kind of never the same. They still aren't, actually. We have 2 great ones, though, that are women-owned as well over in Vietnam, which I love. But I decided I really wanted to do it in the U.S. I was going to, by God, I was going to find somebody to do this. Found a guy in West Virginia, bought all the machines for him. He was an absolute fraud. Like, didn't even know how to drill a hole. So that
I even know how to drill a hole. You want my mom? She doesn't do our blankets anymore.
Right. We'll send her your way.
Yeah, she does. Do it.
I need her. I can employ her.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it was a good lesson because I tend to be half, the glass is always full. It's not, everything's going my way, right?
100%. Yes.
Everything's going my way. Nothing can go wrong.
Fine. It'll be fine.
It'll work out.
Yeah.
Not so. So yeah, he was this Australian guy, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I took a team down. We videoed the factory, and it was going to be this feel-good story. We were going to bring jobs into West Virginia. We had the state involved.
Julie.
It was really hard. It was really hard.
Disappointing.
So I'm like, okay, that's okay. Strike one. Keep going. And then I looked at a couple more. I had 2 or 3 more strikeouts that just, now I know what to look for, right?
Sure.
Right.
Now I know exactly what to look for.
Right.
So about a year and a half ago, I went to Ohio and met with this Amish man that's no longer Amish. He learn the trade from his family, but he really wanted to be of the world and make a living and grow his business and support his community. The furniture that we are making right now is, I mean, you've got to come to one of my stores.
Okay. Yes.
You would die.
Oh my gosh.
We're coming.
Like, here's the brochure, and I'll put one of these in. You guys.
Yes.
It is the
my gosh.
most incredible product, incredible story, every point, every finish, every feature. And we're providing jobs, and we're keeping things here. We know where the lumber's from. There's no waste. We don't package it. We bring it to your door and we set it up in your nursery.
Oh my God.
Thank goodness, because our crib, when we moved, we literally had a friend who is an engineer. Yeah.
To get it in?
6
or to build
hours to put that crib together.
Really?
Yeah, he was literally, he helped to put like airplanes in the sky for a job. You were like, one crib. This is our guy.
So you must have had to like
get together,
put the moldings on
everything. It sounds like
the way that, yeah.
Wow.
Then, think of the room for error there. I mean, you had somebody. Think if you didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So,
what a story, Julie.
It's fun. Yeah, we're really excited. We've got 10 stores that we're launching in.
Okay.
In specific areas. There's not anyone in Atlanta, but I'd love someone in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, who's the baby store there?
Baby Braithwaite you got to go. You got to come down and see her on your way to Augusta. Baby Braithwaite.
Amazing. Tell us about, you said you had some questions for us. What are your questions?
Well, I guess I'd love to hear about your blanket business.
That blanket business.
Oh my goodness, 20 years of looking at a stitch to make sure that it can't get a little finger in it.
Get fingers caught and, making sure that the blanket is the right weight, right? Because we want it to not be super thin, but we definitely don't want it to be super thick, and it needs to be soft on both sides. These are things that most people wouldn't think about, right?
Yeah.
And then
is it unbleached? Does it, how big does the bolt come? Because it needs to be a certain size, and that's the only
wide
the bolt comes in. So
do you guys have one that you loved as a mom, when your kids were little, that you're using as a
my neighbor had made me one, because I was like, my kids are tall and they're long and linky, and I'm like, these blankets are just not working. And so she had she embroidered in her basement or whatever, so she had stuff that she was doing, and so she brought me one of these that were super huge, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Yeah. And even then I think it was like 42 by 42, and we were able to get it bigger than that. But
so where are they being sold? Are they out there yet?
We have them on our website and on Amazon right now. So that's where we're at. We just now have gotten the packaging almost exactly the way we want it to be. So we'll probably start trying to get it out in some retail. And we do have some.
We'd love to put something on our site to
absolutely
push to you.
Yeah,
let me know.
Absolutely, we'll get that going.
Well, how did y'all start doing this?
Oh, that's the best story ever.
It's so good.
So Jennifer and I, of course, we're nurses, right? And so we worked for a busy practice here in Atlanta. We have 8 kids between us. She has a set of twins that are exactly a year older than
twins.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so exactly a year older than mine. And so, of course, we're leaning into each other, right? But we started taking the calls after hours for our practice because it's a busy practice. The nurse line at our local hospital was just overwhelmed. And so the doctors were getting tons of calls. And anyway, we said, hey, we'll do it. We'll take care of it. So
we were between us. We should work all night long as well.
We'll handle it. Yeah. So we would go on call at 4:30 in the evening, get off at 8:30 the next morning, and we would take every call that came in after hours. And so as we were doing that, of course, yes, there were the sick calls and the injury calls, but there was also reality calls like, oh, it's our 3rd night home from the hospital and I can't get my baby to calm down. Or, oh my gosh, they said they had reflux, but we've been on the medicine for 14 days and we're still not doing great or whatever. And so we would kind of help these families and partner with them kind of through the day-to-day stuff too. And one of our bosses was like, you need to just start seeing our new families. Just go out ahead of time. So maybe they won't call you at 2:00 in the morning. And that's what we did. We printed off a folder on our computer.
That's
and
so cool.
started going into
the internet, just so you get the timing. Like we just got off our dinosaurs, and then we started calling into people's phones.
And started going in. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I was on call 90 hours a week. Jennifer took the rest that was left. Yeah. Plus, we were taking call during the day sometimes too. Plus, raising kids and trying to keep everybody alive.
Yeah.
You had babies at the same time.
Oh, yeah. There were many times somebody would call and say, my kid's got this cough. And I'd be like, this one? And the kid next to me would be coughing. I'd be like, yeah, like exactly like that, Yeah. And then about 20 years ago, I went and did a consult for Kenny Rogers and Wanda and his twins. And he was like, look, y'all got something here. Send this folder to a self-publishing company and throw up a website. You can't hit a bullseye if you don't throw a few darts. And that's what we did.
And this is worth throwing a few darts for.
I love it.
And that's what we did, and self-published, and went to a publishing company for a little bit, took those rights back, self-published, and just met every technology innovation over the last 20 years that has fallen into our laps, and tried to reach as many people as we could to just let them know that they're good, they're doing a great job. And right where you are, you're doing an incredible job, and that you're the best one to make the decisions for your household. And hey, if you need a routine and that's how you function best, we're your people. We can help you get on a routine, have some predictability with flexibility, and get you guys through those transitions and love it the best that we can.
And you're giving people something that works for their life, right?
Yes.
Not the perfect.
Right.
No such thing. There's no such thing.
And we were one of the first resources that was written by moms. So before us, it was like Dr. Spock, and it was like and so from the mom's perspective, all of the publishing companies would say, oh, you need to make this book 365 pages or nobody's going to buy it. I'm like, we don't have time to read 365 pages. I'm trying to get a shower. This needs to be outline format, 5 pages. You need to get that information. And we held to that, much like you. We're like, no, we're not putting our name on that too much. And that is what people have. Dads are crazy about how it's just like how to do it. It's not a bunch of why to do it, or it's just here. If you want to do it, here's how you get from here to there, as easy, as simply as possible. So we know that you want to spend more time with your baby than you do with this book. That's what we hope you do, or a website, or an app. But, we have all of these things to make parents' lives easier. So we always default to simple because we did it, because we had 8 kids while we were doing it. And we recognized the power of being simple and, just really providing information that was positive, that didn't frighten people.
And that's doable, right? Yes. That it's not so overwhelming that you're like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And, I didn't even think about that, but as women, we get a little bit of the information. Dads probably get none. Those poor guys.
So true.
But modern dads, I will have to say, that's one of my favorite things about modern dad, even for like the past, I would say 10 years, is this shift of so much of a desire to participate, to have a support role for the baby and the mom, and to like fully engage. Like they are the most engaged generation, I think, with parenting. As Laura and I get older, would you agree, Laura, that we see
absolutely.
like these dads are more and more engaged? It's so beautiful to see.
And I take the customer calls every once in a while because it's how you learn, right?
Yes,
so I'll be the person, and it's a lot of guys.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Love
it.
It really
absolutely
is.
I agree. I believe that. that. So, all right. So owning a business, we've got lots of families out here who own their own businesses, trying to start a business. What are we've talked about some of the lessons learned, right? And we don't quit learning. You think you've got it under control, and something happens and nope, my bad. There's many times I'm like, yep, that one's on me. That's on me. But what are some of the most rewarding things that you would say that you've experienced while owning your own business? What has that given you and your family? As you've raised 4 kids, moved to a new city, what are some of those, what are some of the most rewarding experiences you would think because you own your own business?
I think obviously you're following your passion. I feel like most people like you guys that decide you're going to start this, maybe you have a dream, maybe it's of necessity, but you're doing it because you want to. You love something. There's something. For me, I kind of am obsessively creative. So to have an idea become real is kind of like having a baby in a weird way.
Right.
And I think when I was working for other people, I would have that baby, but it wasn't it either wouldn't make enough money or it was a little too out there. So it didn't scratch the itch. I couldn't do what I wanted to do until I had my own business.
Right.
So I think you're fulfilled. Money, it's not like you're getting rich.
Right.
You're working, you're sustaining yourself. And I have good business minds around me because I don't have a good business mind.
Right.
At all. Like, I don't even know what things cost. So I would say if you're a creative person like me, you got to have somebody that has that attention. So I've got a right-hand person that is so detail oriented and so not, keeps me in line. You do not, Julie, you do not need to go do that. You don't need to go partner with that person. You're not going to get your return.
We got one of those too.
Yeah,
we are so thankful for her all the time.
And
I think the reward is getting up and loving what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think for kids, I remember, and you guys probably felt this, I'm not going to be there for that play. I'm not gonna, and my kids will say, I'll be like, guys, did you guys, did I miss, did you wish I was around more? They were like, no, we love that you were doing what you were doing.
You were an example.
They got to see the ambition and your capabilities and the inspiration of that. So in every situation, they get to see what is just built inside of you that you're enjoying.
And it's inspiring them to go do what they love. Right.
Yes.
You can do anything. You can be anything and do anything.
Yeah.
But you got to fight for it, right? I mean, you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
I think the details are probably the hardest. Mm-hmm. You have this vision of, okay, I want to do X. How am I going to get there?
Yep.
And it's always the tiniest of details that get you. For me.
Right. No, I think that's absolutely it. And I think that, we talked a lot about the failures and those lessons that we've learned along the way that I wouldn't trade any of our failures.
I might trade one or two.
one.
I have one failure I would trade, Laura.
Yeah, one. Just one.
ESP that to you.
That's right.
I want to know.
Just one. Just one.
I know.
And that's, but for the most part, even through the things that one thing that we wish we wouldn't have is we learned something. We learned more about what we wanted, how we were going to do things, and how we wanted to continue with the company that we built. Right. And I think that was always, a huge piece of recognizing it's okay to try something and it not work. It's okay.
Sure.
It's okay. Sure. Yeah. And I think all too often we let that fear keep us from that next best, wonderful, great thing. And so being able to recognize that failure is not the end all. It's usually just the beginning.
It's
Well, and
kind of the best.
understanding the non-negotiables, like you were talking about, Julie, that when you know, like this, people say to us all the time, "Oh, I know that business is your baby." Like, no, it's everyone's baby. Like it's much bigger than that. Same thing with you. These safety issues with this crib. Oh, I know that like that idea and everything, that's your baby. But it's bigger than that. No, that's everyone's baby. And we take that so seriously. So our non-negotiables are non-negotiable.
And they're not, like you said, your words are affecting families all over.
Right.
For good, you know,
Right.
like you got to go to bed at night and be like, you know what? Not only did I love what I did today, I might have helped somebody.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. That's
Right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's kind of
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, we're all keeping babies alive all of us.
And in this
Trying
world
so hard
where
to help these great moms,
we're
dads.
so isolated, I
Yeah.
feel like the relationship piece is really big, and it's you guys keep it alive. We got to keep it alive.
we do.
Right?
We do.
Yeah.
And that's super important. And I think that the more that we get stuck in our phones as we're watching podcasts and listening to podcasts, right? But the more that these phones and the digital technology take over that relationship piece, we have to fight. We have to fight to continue to lay down those things and talk face to face and get back to that relationship piece, because that is what is most important for our kids. Your kids watching you do the things that you do
For sure.
and work hard and reach and achieve those dreams was so important. And I think that, you know, we have to keep reminding ourselves of that, right?
For
So
sure.
but I want to talk a little bit about Milk Street Cribs, because one, the name is fabulous. I love it.
Yeah.
But what makes them so special? So we know that they are made with the best of everything that you can do, and that they are made here in the US.
We have two lines.
Okay.
So the new line we just launched is USA. And
Okay.
if you go on our website, milkstreetbaby.com, you'll see it's sort of announced, because this is brand new, like launched last
love
month.
it. Yay, this is so exciting.
Congratulations.
And it's high end, right? It's made in America. It is what it is.
Right.
Stories online, I've sort of talked a little bit. It's all the bells and whistles, basically custom. You pick your wood species, your finish, and it is the lifetime furniture. You invest, everything converts. It goes from a crib to a toddler to a full size. You're buying furniture for forever.
Right.
So that's our new line. Our original lines, we have 4 that are imports from our Vietnam factories. We love them. We have QC over there, and they do a great job. We've had them since 2018.
Love that.
And those lines are more affordable. They're on our site. They're through Bye Bye Baby. They're on Amazon, Walmart, you know, you name it. And that's a more affordable line with a little more. It's KD. No one's going to come in and build it for you.
Sure.
You're going to have to find that engineer.
Yeah. Aeronautical engineer, is that what you're saying?
That one.
We'll find that guy.
But I think what we do best, aside from safety and quality, is we're making something beautiful. So if you think about what a crib is, it's, 50 by 30 by 30, and it's got bars. It looks like a cage.
Right.
So all you have to work with is wood species, profiles, feet, and, little details. And that's what I love. I love taking that box and making it where people go, whoa, I love that, And the kids love it. And the fact that it converts, you have your baby in your crib and then it's time to transition, but it's their same space. So all you're doing is popping the front off and putting the toddler rail on.
Yeah.
So that little toddler is not having to move at all. He's just in the same cozy space.
He's like,
they love familiarity, those toddlers. I'll tell you what, that helps for success.
And everything's low. Everything is very gender neutral, very style neutral. We try to do something that anybody can put, whether it's in an apartment in New York or a mountain ranch. Our cribs will all work everywhere.
Love
So,
that.
I think the best thing we do, and this is just kind of current for me, is I know where every material is from.
Oh,
I know that. And that allows me to know there's no formaldehyde, there's no off gassing. This wood does not have mold in it. It's been kiln dried. All of those things that you kind of expect
right.
a furniture manufacturer would do, don't,
You know.
and you can't assume it,
Right.
Well,
So I think that's what
I don't know that we know that, but I think that we're learning that right now. The things that we are just learning. And
just
so
don't
they
assume.
become important, and then you're aware, and then and you can appreciate the beauty of what went into it. Not only by the value of that creativity and working with those little elements that you get to create, but also the safety for everyone's baby. Like it just has check everything off the box.
The unseen things, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just moisture in the wood. What happens if, number one, is it solid wood or not? Our cribs are all solid wood. So that, don't assume. Even if it says wood crib, it could be manufactured with a lot of adhesives. Solid wood cracks if it's not dried to the appropriate temperature. So you get this beautiful crib, you buy it in North Carolina, but you live in Florida where it's really humid and damp. And within a month, or you put it by your radiator, within a month, all the paint's peeling off and cracking. Your baby's eating it.
Right.
It's just little things that I think people assume that they need to ask and be aware because they're putting this new life into this place for 8 hours.
Right.
They're not watching it, So I guess just don't assume anything.
Love that. Love that.
Thank you for thinking of it on our behalf.
Of course.
Everyone's behalf.
Yeah. That's why we do it, right?
Yes. Laura and I talk about that all the time. Yes. What is the reason? Every meeting that we have, every business meeting we have starts with a letter that we were sent by some of the people we have the pleasure to serve and communicate with. So we always remember right from the get-go and right from the start, why are we doing this?
Can I hear the letter?
What's that?
Can I hear the letter?
Oh, it's a different one every week. So it's the things that people
just
send in.
Someone you
I'm
help.
a mom.
Yes.
Today's meeting, we had one today. Today's meeting was a mom who was thanking us for answering her question on our podcast, actually. And she was like, she had twins just like us, and they were 2 years old, and she was having such a tough time getting them in their nap time. And we helped her. Now she has her peace of mind back, and she feels like she can think her thoughts and be a better mom. And so that's how we'll start off every week, like with why are we doing this?
That's great.
All this work went into that mom with twins who needed to have moments to think her own thoughts and some, predictability to her day.
Yeah. And then you refocus. You're not thinking about, oh God, we didn't do that. Or, oh, we got to do that. It's like, this is why we're doing, this is the important stuff, right?
Right.
That's
so later in the day, when Laura, you get the packaging for the new blankets, and the gray color is so light you can't even read it. You're just like, oh, we're so close. Just make it darker. So
that isn't the big meat of it, is it?
But at the end of the day, the box is going in the garbage. Yeah. So we'll get it on the next round.
It'll
be fine.
Right.
It'll be fine. Nobody will know. Now they'll know, but nobody
will
know.
Now they'll know. Jennifer told everyone. Thanks a lot.
Now they know.
That's how we do things. It's fine. No, and I think that's just so important to remember your why. And everything that you do, whether you're a teacher or whether you're a nurse or whether you're creating beautiful and incredible cribs, why are we doing what we do? And I think when we sit back and think about that, we can do some pretty incredible things when we have our why.
For sure.
It changes the way you do it. When you know your why, it changes the way that you're doing it. Like there was something on YouTube at one point, and they were talking about that, right? It was a comedian talking, and picks a guy out in the audience, and he's like, sing Amazing Grace. And so the guy gets up and he kind of sings Amazing Grace, and he's good. He says, but now I want you to sing Amazing Grace like your grandma just passed away and you're up and, and he gives this scenario. And then the guy starts singing Amazing Grace. And when the hair stands up on your arms and on the back of your neck, and you're like, oh. And he's like, yeah, once you knew your why, you met that expectation, right? Yeah. And I think so often we forget what our why is.
Yeah,
you need to remember what our why is. Yeah, it was so good.
You also said something about fear.
Oof.
One of y'all did.
Yeah.
And I think fear is so stifling and it's so illogical. And I feel it every once in a while for no reason. It'll be like, wait, what if people don't like that?
Right.
Wait, who do you think you are doing this? Like, do you ever get those feelings?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
it all comes from inside the house. Yeah.
Inside the house.
It's just like, where is that coming from?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
We talk about counteracting that. So even for parents at night, when you go to bed and you think, oh no, what were the 5 things that I did wrong that could just ruin this kid's life? Or, oh no, did I do this? And instead we're like, no, we want to harness that time and pick 5 things you did right. Train your mind to think differently, because we all have those things that come after us and seek to steal. And we look how hard have you worked? How many countries have you traveled to? How many species of wood do you understand will, work in a certain way, in a certain crib? All of those wonderful things that you would miss because you thought, oh, who am I to do this? There's other people that make cribs. There's other people that write books. Yeah, but not you. Not the way you would do it, not with your standards.
And I would even add to that, Julie, when we talk about fear, not only do we need to always keep in mind what we're doing right, how we're helping people, right? But also reminding us of what the truth is. And it's probably not the big fear. What is the truth?
Yeah.
And when we can make decisions based out of truth. And Jennifer and I do this all the time. There's big decisions that have to be made. And Jennifer and I hunker down and we're like, okay, well, yeah, that could happen. This could happen. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. Yeah. What is the truth? And how can we walk? Okay, well, if that happened, then what? Yeah. Okay, so if the worst case scenario happens, then what? Yeah. Work it out. Play it out in your mind. Yeah. But I think knowing what the truth is and reminding ourselves what the truth is so important and crucial in the day-to-day.
By truth, knowing the truth, is that knowing reality?
Yeah. What is your reality?
Yeah. Parenting out of truth instead of fear. Yeah. So my sister would say it. I think I love the way she put it. She was like, Jennifer, just make the best decision you can with the information you have at the time. And I think we want to be psychic. We want to know what's going to happen tomorrow and plan for every, possibility. And that's unreasonable. And
and it's suffocating.
Yes. And when we parent out of the information that we have at the time, then, we know we're doing the best. Parents will call us all the time and they're worried about, I'm afraid I'm a bad parent. The fear that you're a bad parent makes you a good parent, because bad parents aren't afraid that they're not good parents.
True. But where is that fear? It's like, where does that come from? Where is it from?
I think that it comes from our past experiences. Yeah. I think that there's some pain that we want to try to avoid, right? So I think that it comes from that. Yeah. I think that a lot of times, the fear comes because we don't think we can do it. Yeah. Yeah. And so then that sits and that voice, Jennifer said, those voices are inside the house, repeating things that are not true.
Yeah.
Or that were once said over you.
Oh,
yeah. By someone else and got stuck there. Or as a comparison when you look at other people, like what you were saying. Yeah. Who am I?
Yeah.
because look at this person and this person and this person and that person. And instead of viewing, you have the ability to see what's great in all those people. Do you have the mirror to see what's great inside yourself?
Oof.
My dad, who is probably my best friend, he's this amazing, most creative, most gave me everything as his little girl. I'm his only girl. But he would always say, whether we were, out at our farm or school related, or even now, he'll say, now you make sure and get up and do the thing you're dreading the most first. Get up and just go do it. Yeah. Tackle it first out the way. Anything else.
All right. I love that.
We're going to do that.
I love that. I think that's wisdom for sure. Because otherwise, just dread. You think about it all day long. Yeah. Put it off till the end, and it's messed up everything.
Your day's gone.
To that point, your day's gone. And you still got to do the thing you don't want to do.
Still sitting there. It hasn't changed. So get up, get rid of it. Right when you get up.
I love that. Well, this was such a fun conversation, Julie. And I'm inspired by your story. Mm-hmm. I know others are going to be inspired by your story. And even more important, we have some really beautiful cribs that we're going to send out into the world. And so we're really excited about that. Tell our listeners where they can find you guys, anything upcoming that we need to be aware of, and all the ways that we can help make Milk Street cribs known. Milk Street Baby, right? Because you got to have some other things probably somewhere down the road.
So I reached out to my marketing team because I'm like, okay, let me make sure and say all this right. But what we first of all, we want to offer your listeners a discount code just for that.
Okay,
25% off anything on the site. Yep.
Okay, that's great.
It's going to be short. I think they said for a week.
Okay.
I'll send you guys the code.
Okay, great.
And I think we can say Moms on Call 25.
Perfect. Woo! MOC. You want to do Moms on Call or MOC?
MOC?
Yeah, let's do MOC 25.
All right. Caps, MOC 25.
Yep. That sounds
25% off anything.
Oh, that's exciting. And where can they go to get that?
So you can go to milkstreetbaby.com. And then you can find us. We'll also put it up on our Instagram, TikTok. Instagram is @MilkStreetBaby.
Okay.
TikTok is @MilkStreetBaby. And then our Facebook is just Milk Street.
Okay. Well, thank you, Julie, for being here. And again, listeners,
so much fun.
That's MOC. MOC 25% off at milkstreetbaby.com. Go check out these cribs. Check out the story. Learn more about Julie and what she's doing. She's on fire. I'm excited to get to know her. So thanks for being with us, Julie.
Thank you, ladies. I loved it.
Thank you for listening to the Moms on Call podcast. If you have a question for Jennifer and Laura, call 888-234-7979. Visit momsoncall.com for resources to help you parent with confidence and thrive, not just survive your amazing parenting journey.